Everyone, today we are making gingerbread, soft, moreish gingerbread. This is so soft, it just succumbs to the bite. These are on the mild side, but you can ramp up the spice. You can have them plain, you can pipe on them, you can glaze them. These remind me of the pfeffernuss or the lebkuchen that I used to love as a kid. Let's dig in. So we're starting off with all of our dry ingredients in one bowl. So we've got flour, a bit of salt, baking powder, so cinnamon, ginger, nutmeg, and clove. I'm just going to combine all of the dry ingredients, set that aside. Then we're going to make our syrup. We have the muscovado sugar, extra virgin olive oil, plant-based milk, and golden syrup, or you can use amber agave. So the key here is you can either use a hand blender or a whisk. We just want to combine these and then keep whisking them until we get a really nice consistency. Now we just want to mix this until it's beautifully combined and there are no streaky bits of oil. So we've got all of our dry ingredients in one bowl and our syrup in the other. We're just going to add that syrup to the dry ingredients and mix them till we get a dough. The reason we make the syrup first is that if you were to mix the oil and the milk in separately, you'd get this separation because the flour would kind of absorb that liquid at different rates, and then you'd end up with a dough that is crumbly and kind of starts to fall apart after you work with it for a while. Just want to mix it with the spatula until it comes together. Got this nice smooth dough. Wrap it and put it in the fridge for at least half an hour, but up to overnight. So we're now going to get our dough, and I always like to dust a little bit of flour and roll it in one direction before turning it 45 degrees and rolling it in the other direction. So we want to roll this to, this is maybe a bit softer than typical gingerbread, so we do want to handle it with care. And then with your offcuts, you can just press them together, nice and firm. And then re-roll them. So the other thing you can do is roll them on the slightly thicker side. I like to cut discs to make something reminiscent of lebkuchen. And the other thing that we can do with this dough is use a press. So you can use blocks and rolling pins to add a really cool texture. So what I do is take a bit of my dough and then just very lightly dust it with flour and then press it into the mold and then onto the tray. Time to go in the oven. Next up, we're making our icing by adding water to some icing sugar with a tiny bit of vanilla paste, perfectly optional, but recommended. And I'm just going to whisk this until it reaches a really nice kind of fluid, oozy texture. So you'll see, we just kind of, it has this beautiful kind of glossy, there we go, perfect ratio. So we just keep whisking that until it's smooth and completely lump free. Time to glaze. Got our biscuits, and I'm just going to glaze a few at a time. Dip it in one way and then swipe the remainder off and let it drip dry.